This episode of JKB is only made possible by Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting me on that site. Link in the underbar. JKB back with another episode. Today on the show, I'm reviewing Far Cry 5. Thank you to Ubisoft for the review copies. Far Cry has always been about two things. The first thing that's important to a Far Cry game is the gameplay. You take weapons, vehicles, wildlife, the physics, and mix them with enemy AI to create moments that can only happen in a Far Cry game. The second thing that's made the series so interesting is the compelling villains that push you to the extremes and keep you playing until you've uncovered the whole story. Far Cry 5's story is simply the most well-written Far Cry game to date. Its main villain is absolutely spellbinding. From the main actor's brilliant performance to his motivations in the game, you'll be left on the edge of your seat in terror and amazement that Ubisoft somehow has managed to capture one of the most intense performances of all time in a video game. It's extremely rare that I'm impressed by the marriage of the technology and the actor's craft, but for the first time in a long time, I was absolutely blown away by the level of detail they've captured from the actors' performances. The incredible writing is something this game needed. I didn't want to see another crazy villain for just the sake of seeing another crazy villain. Joseph Seed is the main villain of the game. He's also known as the Father. He is the man who believes the end of the world is coming, and he's been preparing for its collapse. He's built a massive following, which is the cult in the game known as Eden's Gate. It's your job to build up the resistance in town and the surrounding areas to take down this cult. Hope County is divided into 3 regions. Each of the Father's heralds control each section of this map. Now, each section of this map is open from the start of the game. Ubisoft has decided to make a clear change to the way you play a Far Cry game, and it moved it into a more open world experience by not assigning missions to you, but instead giving you the choice to engage in main storyline missions at your own pace. After the first mission in the game is over, you'll also unlock co-op mode. Once this is done, you can invite a friend into the game. The whole point of this game is to help the people regain their independence from the cult by building up the resistance in each region. Another major improvement is the inclusion of Guns for Hire. Guns for Hire are a group of AI characters that you can hire as you play the game and fight the cult. You can use these AI characters to ambush your enemies without breaking your stealth, go in guns blazing, or even take out enemies from a distance. Each of the Guns for Hire have different ways of handling situations, so it's up to you to make sure you want to approach these situations based on which Guns for Hire you're using at that very moment in the game. You can make them go to different positions on the map, or even attack enemies using the D-pad. All you have to do is put your reticle in the position you want them to go and hit the D-pad left, and they'll go to that position. I should also point out that there's Fangs for Hire as well. This gives you animal companions in the game that will help you hunt other animals, as well as even attack enemies that will cause a distraction for you to make your move. There's also Guns for Hire specialists in the game. These are more powerful and have abilities available right from the start. They can also be upgraded in the perks for cooldown perks, so when a Guns for Hire is shot and knocked down, the cooldown period is much faster after you've gotten the perk. The way you have to look at these Guns for Hire is a lot like playing co-op with your friend. You don't have to use them at all, but using them in game is a blast when you figured out which one does what. In terms of how smart the AI characters are, it's definitely better than you would expect. I did have minor issues with the paths that they would take to the position I pointed them to. Having a dog with you that will bark when an angry enemy is around the corner is absolutely amazing. I took a few moments to see the level of detail they put into the dog's AI, and at one point I watched him walk over to a pond and take a drink of water at complete random times. But as he was drinking the water one of these times, a wolverine came flying out of the woods to attack me, and the dog jumped out of the water to save my life. This was an amazing achievement in video games, and it was something just amazing to experience in Far Cry 5. At the beginning of the game, there's a funny joke about towers in the game. A character makes you go to the top of a radio tower, and you think, here we go again with the towers. But once you reach the top of the tower, he comes on the walkie-talkie and says, "Don't worry, I'm not going to make you climb towers all day." That was the moment I knew that this was a new take on Far Cry. The way the story progresses at times can be completely random. You'll be walking around the map and a quote-unquote capture party will shoot you with a sleeping dart. You'll wake up in the basement of a silo and you'll be loaded into a storyline scene. At first I had no idea what the hell was going on. But as I played the game, you actually start to want the capture party to show up and take you away to show you more of the story. That's how amazing this story is. I wanted to compare the setting of this game and even the tone of it with a few different films. The first film that came to mind when I started the game was Kevin Smith's Red State. So if you've seen that film, you'll be kind of at home with what's going on with the cult. The second film I thought of right away was First Blood. The story elements aren't exactly like First Blood, but the whole tone of the game felt like John Rambo could walk out at any moment and fit right in. I think at this point in the series, tone is very important because we've been playing these amazing open worlds, but it's never been set in America or dealt with such serious issues as a religious cult. During your adventure, you'll be able to hunt animals for skins and bait. Bait is used to attract a predator that will attack the closest prey, and the skins aren't used for crafting anymore. There's hunting sections all over the map that you'll discover as you play, and you'll be able to go into these sections to hunt for wildlife and bring back skins to any of the stores to sell for cash. Of course, it wouldn't be a Far Cry game without binoculars. These binoculars are used to tag enemies and animals in the environment. As long as you can see an enemy on screen, you can tag them. The guns for hire in the game is an amazing feature that I've been using to capture outposts, to just do random things in the game. But the game also features co-op. When a friend is going to come into your game, your friend's world progression and resistance levels remain untouched. But his personal progress and perks, challenges, and shop items are saved to his game. I thought this was a very smart idea because I've been confused kind of in the past on exactly what was going on in missions, what's getting activated, who's activating it, but this time around it's clear that co-op is designed to be a lot like the guns for hire feature. You bring in a friend that can help in the missions and that's it. They get to keep their perks. This works because of the way the game is set up with the open adventure idea. You can jump into their game, but you might not see the same mission right away because he may have went off in a totally different direction when he started the game opposed to the direction you went into. This keeps the game completely fresh for when you jump back into your single player experience. You may see the same mission here or there, but it's very unpredictable where each player is going to head. Crafting is back in the game, and there's something called homeopathics, which are used as special timed stackable abilities, such as like move faster or tag all the humans and animals on screen without physically looking at them. These are great for situations you may need help in. What is great is that you can use these all at once and make yourself super powered. The point is, it's giving you the option to do so or not. Cult events are events that happen all over the map, some at random and some by design. You'll see a marker come up when you get close to any of these events, and you can choose to complete them or not. You'll see events such as kill a random cult member, whose VIP status will give you extra resistance points. You also see things like destroy cult property, like a silo or even a roadblock. Sometimes you have to capture a truck, you have to free hostages, you have to help resistance members, and even help civilians. All of these events play a major role in making this environment feel alive, with danger around every turn. Some of the best moments I've had in the game are the random encounters within these events. There's also massive cult outposts that you'll recognize kind of from past Far Cry games. Once these are liberated, you'll gain access to new missions and shops. I should point out that the cult outposts have been completely different from one another. I've had an absolute blast capturing all of the outposts I've come across. Cult outposts also have up to 3 alarms. If you get detected before disabling these alarms, enemy reinforcements will be called, which gave me another level of anxiety as I played all of these outpost missions. Reinforcements will show up from any direction and give you this whole feeling of unpredictability. If you can liberate a cult outpost without being detected, you'll be rewarded extra money. Shops in the game are used to buy and customize weapons, ammo, and sell loot. New weapons are unlocked as you build up your resistance level in each region. You'll also notice that there's random hunters all over the map. This way you don't have to fast travel across the whole map to get to a shop. This was extremely helpful. There's a whole bunch of different ways to make money in the game. One of them is finding safes that are completely scattered around the whole map. There's also the ability to sell the animal skins to shops, and there's even fishing, which at first, after the 14th hour, I thought maybe I should try the fishing. There's this huge myth in the game about this large fish that needs to be discovered. I love when games include these ideas. Will you go hunting this mythical fish? If you really get into the fishing, you can also use fishing flies. There's a whole bunch of different types as well. There's also another form of currency in the game, which is called silver bars. The silver bars are hidden at every outpost and some other locations in Hope County. You can use them to buy weapons, vehicles, clothes, and skins for your character at any of the shops. You can also buy silver bars with real-world money. And I know a lot of people are upset there's microtransactions in the game because nowadays we absolutely hate that word, but the good news here is it doesn't shove it down your throat and you don't need to buy any of this after you've purchased the full game. You still gain skill points in the game, but not quite the way you used to. You unlock perks by completing challenges, and you'll receive all of these points to spend on abilities like your grappling hook, or even more health, or more weapon slots. You'll no longer have to skin wild animals to carry more guns. You could still hunt and skin animals, but now you just do that to earn cash. And of course, the cash can be spent on pretty much anything you want in the game. This is the most streamlined Far Cry experience I've played to date. For the whatever you want to do feeling of the open world, the simple to use guns for hire feature, and the drop in and out non-confusing co-op. I'm very impressed with every aspect of this game. The writing is brilliant, the acting is award deserving, and the gameplay action is the most fun I've had in a Far Cry game to date. However, that's just the main storyline campaign. The game also features Far Cry Arcade, which I'm going to describe as a Far Cry wonderland of endless possibilities. In the arcade, you're able to design any type of Far Cry maps you want, with whatever challenges you would like. There's also a community set up to help you experience the best created maps from the creators. You do this by downvoting or upvoting a map after you've experienced it. You can jump into random fan creations of all sorts of different tones, and the map editor is extremely deep with over 9,000 assets for you to use when designing your mini adventures. I've had an absolute blast creating my own maps, but I will point out something here. The editor on console can be very clunky at times, and I'm assuming on PC that's the way you want to go when creating your Far Cry maps. I'm not saying it's completely unusable, but there's a deep learning curve that's intimidating for a lot of people out there. The multiplayer aspect of Far Cry is also tied in to the Far Cry Arcade. The community, which is incredible, can come together and create their own multiplayer maps. At the end of any of the created maps, you'll get a payout. The money you earn in the arcade can also be used in the main storyline campaign. There's also a small leveling up system in the arcade mode that will kind of keep you pushing forward as you experience what the community comes up with. I'll leave it at this: the arcade mode is worth the asking price of this game alone. It's basically an endless generator for experiences in Far Cry. All the featured DLC will include assets that can be used in the editor, so if you wanted to add zombies into your maps, you'll be able to do that as soon as that DLC comes out. I've never recommended season passes on my show. I've always felt that games should never be cut up and served to us on different plates at different price tags. It's extremely refreshing to see Ubisoft step away from that model here. I'm recommending the Gold Edition of this game because of the future DLC packs, and the amount of value that's here is unbelievable in this day and age. Let me go off script and just say I've never, ever recommended a season pass on my show, ever. But at this point in time, because of the arcade mode in here and how much fun I've had with building my own experiences in the editor, I am recommending for sure, if you're even thinking about this game and you want to create maps, go with the Gold Edition. That's going to include the 3 DLC packs and all of their assets. So if you want to add zombies or even the Vietnam War or even space assets into your maps, you'll be able to do that once those DLCs drop. Very few games come along that are perfect 10 out of 10s. Far Cry 5 is so close to being a perfect game that I am having such a difficult time saying if it's a 10 or a 9.5. At the end of the day, I've decided to go with a score that just feels right in my heart. There's one issue with the Far Cry games that they didn't fix here, and it was a little bit of a letdown. You see the same repetitive cult white trucks driving all over the map over and over and over. At times, you'll see up to 3 or 4 of these white trucks on the road, and you'll be taken out of the experience. It's simple as that. You'll be reminded you're playing a video game, and that's kind of my only negative here. A lot of the cult members look identical to each other, and at times you see the same character standing right next to the other same character. This is something I've never figured out in my head, like how can they not fix this in future iterations of the game? It's still an issue in Far Cry 5, and it does definitely take you out of the experience when you see the same cult leader member coming at you over and over. That's just an issue. I had to bring it up. I could go on and on about this game until the cows came home, but I'm not going to go waste any more of your time. I'm going to give Far Cry 5 a 9.5 out of 10. It's basically a must-experience game on every level, be it the incredible acting, the real believable writing, the characters that feel absolutely real, or even the beyond fun gameplay. The whole Far Cry arcade mode is spectacular. Hell, even the music is incredible in this game and puts you into the right mind frame right from the get-go. This isn't a game that is to be missed. I highly recommend buying the Gold Edition if you plan on building maps. The arcade mode, with its assets, will blow you away. Lastly, I'm just going to say that the Gold Edition also comes with Far Cry 3 for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now, if you've been a fan of the series, you'll know that that game was everybody's favorite, and up until this point right now, that's what everyone would say. But now, Far Cry 5 is my favorite, maybe, possibly, top 5 games of all time. I've worked so hard on this review, and I want to thank everybody out there for subscribing and turning on notifications. It does mean the world to me to see you guys leave these comments behind saying I've done such an amazing job on the review. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you in the next episode of JKB.